Welcome back. We have this Silky Katana boy 500 saw blade here. I just bought the blade. We did the pull saw series. If you're interested in that, be sure to go check that out. But I'm gonna build a handle for this here so we can go test it out in other circumstances and maybe diversify it a little bit. But good solid blade. See, it's nice and thick. Aggressive teeth. Looks impressive. So anyways, I'll make a handle for it so we can utilize it in more than just a pull saw function. Get some stuff laid out here. I have a piece of maple here. It's a little bit thicker than 3/4, somewhere in there. Just a piece of scrap I had kicking around. I've got this other saw here. I think the handle's pretty comfortable on it, so I'm going to use it as a kind of a template out there. You can find whatever template or go off scratch, but do something that fits, that you feel comfortable with when you're sawing. With 20 inches, you're going to be cutting big branches, so make it comfortable. Okay, first thing first, kind of make sure that saw blade here I can handle when I'm making it. I'm just going to do a rough tracing. If there is some imperfections in this scrap piece, that's why it is a scrap. Just rough it out here. Now let's take a look here at our saw blade. Take a look at our saw blade here. Probably leave ourselves a little bit of wood here. Trace it out on that side. All right. Looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and maybe do a little bit of modifications. All right, I'm gonna break out one of these pens here. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're pretty handy coming out. Pico pen. You refill them with ink on there, but use it for different functions. Tracing things out here overall. All right, so we have that. Hopefully you can see that kind of roughed out there. So now I'm gonna take it over to the bandsaw and let's rough cut this thing out. All right, normally run a vacuum cleaner on this here, but doesn't make a little extra noise, so let's go ahead and just all right, it's all trimmed up. We'll go to the drill press. You get a couple holes in there. And then there's going to be the hard part, starting to center up everything for this saw blade. All right, have a one inch Foster bit here. All right, let's get a clamp on here. Okay, clamp on here. All right, I'm gonna flip it. Didn't drill all the way through. Sometimes they rip out, so just flip it over if you have that problem. Or what it does is the wood will tear out, so just get it lined up. Just a little extra step that The clamp wasn't deep enough in there, so just kind of put a little wedge here. See that? And then a board there clamped it, and then that holds that down. Alright, have this cut out here. Now we'll get a jigsaw so I can get up in there. Okay, this block of wood here is around 7/8. The blade is about 1/16 thick. So I need some tooling with like some 30 seconds on it, but so just finding the center there. Pretty close. Pencil's pretty handy to get the built-in sharpener for them. Just an old drafting pencil. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm going to mark it on the face side, and I'm going to do some marking on the top side here. So with that, I'm going to split that. And what I'm going to try doing, I'm going to clamp this here. I'm going to clamp, see that I'm going to clamp this, got this measurement set here, going to clamp the tri-square here to that, and it gives me a straight edge so I can hopefully run a saw up in there and kind of get this cut out.
What do you need?
Hold that right there, that level.
Oh.
Alright, it's good to have an extra set of hands. Alright, what I come back with here is a Japanese trim saw, which is appropriate for installing a Japanese blade. Definitely be careful with this thing. I have wound up with some stitches. Very sharp. So you just have to do some nice, smooth, slow cuts there. Follow that line that we put in place, and so at some point we will have to go back and widen. We'll have to go back and widen our cut here. We may be able to get, once we get this kind of started going here, more finished out, we may be able to get that bigger blade in there to do what we want it to do. If not, we'll just we'll figure something out. Run some sandpaper in there. Has two sides to it. I'll see if the other side doesn't. Seems to do a pretty good, better job there. So a little bit more aggressive. All right, I'll bring y'all back in when get this a lot closer to where I need to be at. Okay, I've added, changed up my clamping a little bit here so I could get more of the saw in there. Alright, I think that's where we need it at. Okay, what I have here is some 40 grit sandpaper. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. What I have is some 40 grit belt sanding sandpaper off the belt. Get this thing clamped down where it can move. You just slip it in through the so we're just gonna take a little bit of time to get that sandpaper up in so it frees up enough and move enough material. Work our way down the cut. Let me see if I'm gonna go see if I find a piece that I have broken. Alright, I did find one that was broken. A little heavier sandpaper, so a little stiffer. Let's see here. That was a 60 grit. Still kind of moving this 100 grit to that thickness there, so this seems to be working a little better. Just kind of, alright, you see that? It's going good now. Alright, now every once in a while let's take the blade here and check and see how we're making progress. We don't want it too loose, we just want it where it's nice and snug. Alright, see if I Alright, have a drill bit about the same size as cut I'm doing here, and just going to go down and kind of, not going all the way through, but just kind of alright, get close there, a little bit more. Wow! Alright, just make a little fits. I think that's right there is where we want it at. Alright, let's take these clamps off. Straighten up the workbench. I'm gonna put sandpaper in there and just kind of clean up any edges. Alright, so we got I got it carved out enough here, so let's get this kind of lined up where we want it at. And I gotta go cool the camera off. Alright, have the saw here. Hopefully this turns out good. The camera's overheating and had to swap out cameras here. So I have marked the line here on the saw blade. Have a little line there marked. So now let's transfer that over here to the top here so we can trace it out and figure out where we need to drill our holes, put some pins and everything. Alright, have that marked out. We'll start off with the center hole on that, and then we'll do the other two holes. All right, let me get let's go find a drill bit that fits there. All right, let's Got a 5/16 drill bit. Okay. Let's test it out. Okay, now I'm going to put a hole right here. That's be a blade stopper hole. And I've got some of these matching rivets that I'm going to put in there for a hole, and that's going to be the stopper. They're made up on the other side, so they close up. Let's kind of see how this is coming together so far. Alright, and I think we'll do another one here at the top, but I'm not going to snap these in yet because we're going to do some sanding and smoothing and everything on the handles. Plus I'm going to have to go get a couple parts here. Some wing nuts and a shorter 5/16 nut. Alright, I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to put the other one so it's right there, that hole, so it butts up against there, so that way you've got 3 points to hold this blade in place. Alright, let's drill that out. All right. Now you don't have to use rivets. You could probably use some bolts in there, or just run some screws through there. I have a lot of this stuff kicking around because I'm always messing around with stuff. But anyways, let's go get let's kind of clean up a little bit around here. All right, I'm gonna clean up around here now. Bring out the sanding so we can start sanding. All right, have the sander set up here. Get this thing a little softer to handle. I'm going to take a little bit off here, off this back side, to thin it up a little bit, make it a little bit more comfortable there. It is going to get routed, and we'll sand the inside of that out as well. But I'm going to go to the bandsaw and cut a little off, and I'll be back. Alright, put a smaller wheel on here so we can fit it inside the handle here, and I'll start sanding it. Alright, I think that's pretty good. Right now it feels pretty comfortable. We'll go get the router, and not sure which one I'm going to use yet, but we'll go router this up and go from there. Alright, back with the routers. Alright, have the router here. We'll start off with, it's a small, I think it's an 1/8 inch round on here, so we'll just go around the edge here. I'll see how it feels, and then I've got a more aggressive, I think it's a 3/4 round on there if I want to smooth this out a little bit. But let's go ahead and get this routed out. We go see what other bits I have. Alright, it changed out, went from a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch, so we'll see. Hopefully that gets us a little better. Oh yeah, that feels Feels good. All right. Go get some sandpaper. Sand this up a little bit. Put a little bit of sanding on it. All right, feels pretty comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and get some parts for it. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do here. Since we've got some bigger gaps in here, I'm going to tape up the saw blade, and then I'm going to fill up some of these. Fill this back up with some glue to just add a little extra strength from these spots that don't necessarily need to have as much opening there. What I had to do to get to fit the handle in there, just make sure it has some extra strength. Now this wood that I used here, it's a hard maple on there. Again, it's like 7/8. So let me get that ready, and we'll go from there. All right, you can see here I have the back taped up here. Slide it in. Be careful not to get this line real bit to go through. All right. So I will go ahead and patch up a couple spots. So I'll probably do this in 2 phases. So now what I'm going to do is, if you have some resin, glue, I'm going to fill this in with this so it makes it more solid in here, holds that together. So depending on what you have, I'm going to use some wood glue. If you could have some resin glue, that'd work too probably. But so after I get this all glued back up, I'll bring y'all back in. All right, here's what I'm gonna use. Some Type Bond 3. It's waterproof glue. I use it for a lot of stuff. Seems to be pretty good stuff. So I'm just gonna fill this in and let it sink in. And I'll do that, and then we have a gap on the bottom side here, so fill that up as well. But get this one. It's gonna shrink. So if you have some other material, all right, well, I'll set this where it's set up right for some time. Okay, we have the handle all cut out, sanded, pretty smooth here. So now I'm going to take this bolt, I'm going to put it in here, and because this is hard wood here, I'm just going to tighten it up and put a little indentation on there to mark it. Alright, and then we're going to come back, because of these knobs here, it's going to tear out the wood. So we're just going to take a chisel and help get it started here. Go around. Chisel and just gradually get a little bit of material out. Don't go too fast. Always helps to have a good sharp chisel too. See that there? Just fits in there nice and smooth now. All right, let's get set this aside. Little parts here. I have to get some more parts here in a second for the rest of it. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of. All right, now that we've got the hole cut notch out there, I've got a mixture of linseed oil and mineral oil. I'm gonna wipe it down to protect it. I'll probably let it dry once it's in there real good. I'll go in and coat it with some lacquer or something, but kind of excited about getting this put together and testing it out. Coated real good here. She's good to let that set up for about a day. All right, let's get this blade out here. Place. Let's put the Alright, so we get the blade in place here. Let's put this bolt through. Go. Alright, just have a regular washer, lock washer, and a wing nut. Alright, that's pretty good right there. Alright, now I have a couple J-mate rivets here. And so these are kind of two-part rivets here. There's your female and your male, and they're good for bonding in things to keep things nice and neat. So we'll go ahead and insert this. Okay, just taking these J-mate rivets, placing them in the two holes that we cut. Alright, there it goes. So you just pop those on there. Boom. Let's go find something to test this out on now that we have it put together. Alright, let's test it out on this tree here. There you have it. The Silky Katana Boy 500. It was a quick chop of that branch there. Anyways, thank you for chucking around, and be sure to like and subscribe.